Okay, it's been a while, but here is the E36. I think the last time I was taking the M52 out and putting the M50 in, it's taken a bit longer than expected. The car's quite messy, but it is together and it moves now. I guess that's the key thing. So, first off, I'm just going to show the stuff that's changed, because the sort of filming it became pretty tricky. So that's the M50, and it does run. I was trying to put it in, and it was quite difficult. And that was because I had one of the engine arms upside down. So it never seemed to line up, it kept hitting against the exhaust. I was going crazy. Had to look at dropping the subframe. The M50, this engine was in my drift car. When I crashed the drift car, I didn't think there was any damage, but I'd actually damaged one of the engine mounts. So when I took it out, I saw it straight away, and the M52 mounts are the same, so I just whacked one of those on, but I didn't realise I'd put it on upside down until it wouldn't fit inside the car. So that pushed me back a bit. Finally got the M50 in, and then I think I have some videos. I had a really weird issue. Turn over, get fuel, and it would just like cough and start, and then turn off, and then cough, and then off. So I'll show you that. So I thought it was fuel, I thought it was bad spark, and then over the next few days it just got worse and worse until it would only just crank. So I tried crankshaft sensor, so I tried spark plugs. OBD2 scanner didn't work with this engine, whereas it did with the M52, and then that made me think maybe ECU. And the ECU was really hot. I looked at grounds and stuff and it was fine, but it smelled fried. You know, I smelled the pins, it was bad. And then I thought, they're cheap, why not just chuck it in? You know, they're all because it's a single label red one, they're all non-EWS, so you can use any ECU, and you could get them on the 2 litre one actually. The M50 B20 works, and you can get one from a 5 series or whatever. I whacked that in and it fired straight up. New fuel filter and spark plugs, obviously a good maintenance, but yeah, it was the computer. So the M50 is still healthy, and I knew it had good compression. The next, I'll just show you the other jobs I did to get where the car is now. A lot of that stuff was off-putting because, you know, it's hard to film when it doesn't work. The car's quite lower to the ground now. Obviously, ignore the body stuff, that all needs sorting. Can we show? Can you see that? Can you see that bit of green? There the HSDs are in. Oh, you probably saw it from the engine shot. So HSD monopros are in. I still need to play around with the settings, but I think I've got the ride height about where I want it. Well, another issue I had was so these, if you don't know, are style 24s, but they're all the rear fitments, so they're 8.5J. They wouldn't clear the coilover. I knew that was going to be an issue, but it was basically the rim was hitting the top of the coilover. I don't know if you can see it there, it's quite dark. Yeah, that bit where the third ignore these by the way, they're not fully adjusted. I tried 10mm spacer because I knew people had issues with this, but I didn't realise how wide the 8.5J was, or the offset, so I had to get 30mm spacers, which are quite controversial, but some people look at it as just as though, you know, if you've got a heavier wheel or a different offset wheel, it's the same effect, but that's that. HSDs are obviously in the rear as well. Nothing rubs yet. It was pretty much a big service, so engine oil, filters, gaskets, like oil pan gasket, I did that. Gearbox oil, diff oil, and sealed it because that was leaking. The gear stick is leaning a bit and it's hard to find first gear. I don't know what that is. Could be anything. I had to get an M50 throttle cable because the M52 one's different. It works fine, but it needs a bit of adjusting because it's a bit sticky. Everything else should be the same. It needs an alignment obviously because that's not right, but I think I haven't done too bad a job because I just copied the old wishbones. Oh yeah, so it has completely like new lower suspensions, like wishbone, all the bushers, got the lollipops on. If anyone's ever wondering how to get the bushers for the lollipops, you'll know what I mean. I struggled for a while with a vice, and then I realised you can use soap to lubricate the kind of column and the bush, and then if you find a 32mm socket, it fits just over the bush depending on what brand you get, and you hit it with a big hammer and it sort of just went in for me. Now I can concentrate on body stuff, like I need mirrors in, there's a bit of a gap there, just need side skirts. Oh yeah, so what else? The paint is still looking okay on camera, but it's not that great in real life. I got rid of most of the overspray, the rear was quite bad for that. The exhaust, the hanger snapped, so I need to sort that out, but you can see you got the M Sport rear bumper on there. I'm happy with the body now. Apart from the side skirts, it does look like a lightweight, well, a very cheap one, but it's fine for track. Yeah, so before getting on track, I need to do some more like road miles on it just to prove everything. I've driven it up and down the lane and it seems fine, it doesn't overheat. It feels quite tight with the suspension. I'm happy. I haven't had proper coilovers before, so that'll be interesting. It needs an alignment. It needs like track spec brake discs and pads. These work, but they're just for road spec. But because the car's kept outside and stuff, there's no point in putting those in until just before I do the track day. I know I'll have to bed them in, but I can do that around here. So it needs mirrors. It needs a half cage for the safety and harness bars. The radiator, I'm just going to keep the factory. I think it's a 318 IS one, I can't remember. I've had so many of them. It could be a 325 one. I drifted this engine on one of the hottest days of the year about 2 years ago, and even in the queues, you know, when you're getting onto track, it barely crept above halfway. So I wanted a Koyo one, but they're a lot of money for what they are. If I'm going to get overheating issues on a big track, then I'm more than happy to, you know, let the car cool for a few laps, then go out again. And it's not the same as drifting this. You are getting quite a lot of airflow to the car. And again, the Koyos are good for like high horsepower or say like M3s. This is only like pushing 200 when new, or 190 when new, so it's getting enough air to me. But maybe in the future. So yeah, a few more visual things, and then we'll see there. Well, here's a quick one. M3 mirrors, or fake ones. I'm going to keep them black. Whole car is sort of black and white, so, and I'm not painting those. I hate painting now. Yeah, it does look cool with those.